For thousands of years, humanity has looked up at the sky. We sensed there was something out there, but for a long time, we had no idea what it was. We saw the sun, the moon, the stars, but we couldn't begin to imagine what lay beyond. Today, we know that the world we thought was everything. Our Earth is just a tiny piece of a massive cosmic puzzle, the solar system. It's not just a bunch of planets circling around. It's a realm of explosions, gas giants, frozen deserts, invisible boundaries, and even places where time behaves differently. This video will take you to the closest, yet most mysterious corner of the universe. Get ready, because we're about to explore the hidden face of the solar system. And trust me, some of the facts you're about to hear will truly blow your mind. 1. The Sun makes up 99.86% of the solar system's mass, the true power of the Sun. When we think of the solar system, we usually picture planets. Saturn with its rings, Mars with its red surface, Jupiter with its massive storms. But the truth is, the real ruler of the solar system isn't any of the planets, it's the Sun itself. The Sun makes up 99.86% of the total mass of the solar system. That means the Sun is about 700 times heavier than all the planets, moons, comets, asteroids, and even dust combined. Its mass is equivalent to around 333,000 Earths. This enormous mass gives the Sun an incredibly strong gravitational pull. Have you ever wondered what would happen if the planets didn't orbit the Sun? They'd be flung out into space. The Sun's gravity is like an invisible rope, holding everything from planets to asteroids secure in their orbits. And that same mass also fuels constant nuclear fusion reactions in its core. Hydrogen atoms fuse into helium, releasing immense energy in the process. This energy is what powers the Sun's light and what warms and lights up the entire solar system. So, it's not just Earth, but every planet from icy Neptune to giant Jupiter that owes its energy to the Sun. Even though the Sun is 4.6 billion years old, it's still in its middle age. In about 5 billion years, it'll run out of fuel, become a red giant, and completely disrupt the system's balance. But for now, it remains the undisputed ruler of the solar system. 2. Venus is the hottest planet. Even though it's not the closest to the Sun, welcome to a deadly oven. Most people think Mercury is the hottest planet since it's closest to the Sun, but surprisingly, Venus, second from the Sun, is actually the hottest planet in the solar system. Why? It all comes down to its atmosphere. Venus's atmosphere is made up of 96% carbon dioxide. It's thick and dense, letting sunlight in but trapping heat, kind of like a greenhouse. This is called the greenhouse effect, and on Venus, it's taken to the extreme. The result? Average surface temperatures reach about 900 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt lead, tin, and zinc. Even more shocking, there's barely any temperature difference between day and night. No matter where you are on Venus, it's like standing in the middle of a furnace. And the pressure? It's 90 times greater than Earth's, like being 3,000 feet underwater. Without a specially protected spacesuit, a person would be crushed, cooked, and suffocated instantly. Even robotic probes have only survived a few hours on the surface. On top of that, Venus's clouds contain sulfuric acid and rain acid droplets. But the heat is so intense, these raindrops evaporate before they ever reach the ground. Ironically, Venus is almost the same size as Earth and is often called our twin. But land there, and it's not Earth you'll find, it's hell itself. Another reminder of just how extreme the solar system can be. 3. Jupiter is like a solar system of its own, the king of giants. When you hear giant in space, one name stands above all: Jupiter. It's so massive that 1,300 Earths could fit inside it. But its size isn't the only impressive thing. Jupiter is like a mini solar system. So far, over 95 moons have been discovered orbiting Jupiter, and the number keeps growing. And these aren't just chunks of rock, some are as big as planets, and some may even host life. For example, Ganymede is the largest moon in the solar system, bigger than the planet Mercury. It's also the only moon with its own magnetic field. Europa has an icy surface and likely a liquid ocean underneath. Scientists believe it could harbor microbial life. Io is the most volcanically active body in the solar system, with constant eruptions and lava flows. Each of these moons is like a scientific treasure trove, but Jupiter's true power lies in its magnetic field. It's 20,000 times stronger than Earth's and creates a massive magnetosphere, an invisible shield that deflects solar radiation. If you could see this magnetic field with your eyes, it would appear 5 times larger than a full moon in Earth's sky. It's even powerful enough to trap particles and make them move independently of the sun. Some scientists call Jupiter a failed star. If it had just a bit more mass, nuclear fusion could have started in its core, and we might have had a second sun. Jupiter isn't just a planet, it's a world of its own, with its own moons, energy, and gravitational dominance. 4. On Mars, the sunset appears. Blue evenings on the red planet. When we think of Mars, we imagine its rusty red soil and dusty landscape. That's why it's nicknamed the Red Planet. But strangely enough, sunsets on Mars aren't red, they're blue. Sounds backward, right? But it's all thanks to how light scatters in the Martian atmosphere. On Earth, our thick atmosphere is filled with nitrogen and oxygen, which scatter sunlight in such a way that short-wavelength blue light is scattered away, especially at sunset. That's why we see reds, oranges, and pinks when the sun goes down. Mars is different. Its atmosphere is 100 times thinner than Earth's, and mostly made of carbon dioxide. But more importantly, it's filled with tiny dust particles rich in iron oxide, the stuff that gives Mars its reddish color. These particles scatter light in a unique way. At sunset, they allow blue wavelengths to pass straight through toward the viewer, while other wavelengths scatter outward. So, when the sun sets on Mars, the sky near the sun glows blue, while the rest of the sky remains reddish. It's a dual-colored sunset blue at the bottom, red above. NASA's rovers like Curiosity and Spirit have actually captured this surreal phenomenon on camera. Even sunrise works similarly. The sun peaks over the horizon with a cool blue glow before fading into Mars's signature reddish sky. If you're looking for a romantic sunset, Mars offers something totally out of this world, a cold, alien landscape with a breathtaking blue goodbye to the day. 5. Saturn is the only planet that could float in water, like a giant gas balloon. Saturn might be the most visually stunning planet in the solar system. Its majestic rings make it a favorite even in amateur telescopes. But Saturn's beauty goes beyond appearances. Its physical structure is one of a kind. Its average density is just 0.687 grams per cubic centimeter, which is less than the density of water. In simpler terms, if you had a big enough bathtub, Saturn would float. It's the only planet in the solar system with this bizarre quality. Why is it so light? Because Saturn is mostly made of hydrogen and helium, the lightest elements in the universe. Its core may be dense, but the massive outer layers are so puffy and light that they drag the average density way down. Still, Saturn is huge, the second largest planet after Jupiter. Its diameter is about 75,000 miles, nearly 9.5 times wider than Earth. But its mass is only about 1/3 that of Jupiter. Another fun fact, Saturn spins so fast that it bulges at the equator and flattens at the poles, giving it a squash shape called an oblate spheroid. It's basically a giant spinning gas balloon. And of course, those famous rings. They're made of ice and rock, ranging in size from tiny grains to massive chunks hundreds of feet across. Even though the rings look thick and solid, they're often no more than a few hundred feet thick, razor thin, considering how wide they are. In short, Saturn is light, enormous, fast spinning, and one of the most graceful giants in our cosmic neighborhood. 6. The moon is slowly moving away from Earth. A cosmic breakup story. When we look at the moon in the night sky, it seems peaceful and ever-present. But what if I told you it's drifting away from us little by little every single year? Thanks to NASA's laser measurements, we now know the moon moves away from Earth at a rate of about 1.5 inches per year. That might not sound like much, but on a cosmic scale, it's huge. Why is this happening? As Earth spins, it creates tides in our oceans. These tides are caused by the moon's gravity, but they also pull back on the moon. This transfer of energy gradually pushes the moon into a higher orbit, making it move farther away. Over millions or billions of years, this small change adds up. Tides will weaken, Earth's rotation will slow down. One day, a single day on Earth could last more than 30 hours. Right now, the moon is about 238,855 miles away from us. But 1.5 billion years ago, it was much closer and appeared much larger in the sky. The moon's slow retreat isn't just a simple movement, it's a story that connects Earth's past, present, and future. And we're living right in the middle of it. 7. Light born. Inside the sun. Takes millions of years to reach the surface, a journey through time. The sunlight that warms your skin or lights up your morning room feels instant, right? But the truth is, that light began its journey millions of years ago inside the heart of the sun. In the sun's core, intense pressure and temperature drive a nuclear fusion process. Hydrogen atoms fuse into helium, releasing energy in the form of photons, the particles of light. Now, here's the wild part. Even though photons travel at the speed of light, they don't head straight to the surface. The sun's interior is so dense that photons get bounced around, absorbed and re-emitted billions of times. It's like trying to leave a packed stadium through a crowd that never moves. Scientists estimate it takes 10,000 to over 1 million years for a photon to reach the sun's surface. But once it's free, it only takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds to travel across space and reach Earth. So, the sunlight you see today, it could have started its journey when woolly mammoths were still walking the Earth. In a way, every ray of sunlight is a cosmic time traveler, carrying messages from the deep past. 8. Uranus rolls around the sun. The mystery of the tilted planet. Most planets spin upright or at a slight tilt, but not Uranus. This strange ice giant is practically lying on its side. Its axial tilt is a whopping 97.77 degrees, meaning it essentially rolls around the sun. To picture this, Earth has a tilt of about 23.5 degrees, and that's what gives us seasons. But Uranus is tilted so far over that its poles point almost directly at the sun. This leads to some truly bizarre seasons. Each pole experiences 42 years of continuous daylight, followed by 42 years of darkness. Imagine half a lifetime of sunlight, then half a lifetime of night. Why is Uranus like this? Most scientists believe a massive object, maybe the size of a planet, collided with Uranus long ago, knocking it onto its side. This ancient impact not only changed Uranus's tilt, but may have influenced its atmosphere and moons as well. And Uranus has even more quirks. It has rings, though they're faint and hard to see. It has at least 27 moons, many named after Shakespeare characters. Its atmosphere contains methane, which gives it a pale blue-green color. Because of its sideways spin, Uranus has the strangest seasonal cycle in the solar system. One pole basks in the sun for decades, while the other sits in total shadow. So, yeah, Uranus doesn't just orbit the sun, it cartwheels through space. 9. A day on Mercury is longer than its year, where time gets weird. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, and it's got one of the weirdest time systems in the entire solar system. A single rotation on Mercury, a day in other words, takes about 59 Earth days, but it only takes 88 Earth days for Mercury to complete a full orbit around the sun, a year. It gets weirder. If you were standing on Mercury, the time between two sunrises, a solar day, would be 176 Earth days long. So, from one morning to the next, you'd be waiting half a year. Why? Because of a strange interaction between Mercury's slow rotation and its elliptical orbit. This causes some odd optical effects too, like the sun rising, backing up a little, and then continuing its path across the sky. Mercury's surface temperatures are also extreme. During the day, it can hit 800 degrees Fahrenheit, and at night, it can plunge to negative 290 degrees Fahrenheit. That's one of the largest temperature swings in the solar system. Mercury isn't just a small, rocky world. It's a twilight zone, where time and heat play by their own rules. 10. The real edge of the solar system is way farther than you think. Where does interstellar space begin? Most people think the solar system ends with Pluto, or maybe the Kuiper Belt. But in reality, it stretches far beyond what most imagine. The true boundary lies at a place called the heliopause, the point where the sun's influence ends and interstellar space begins. The sun constantly sends out streams of charged particles called the solar wind. This wind forms a giant protective bubble around the solar system called the heliosphere. The outer edge of this bubble, the heliopause, is where that solar wind slows and fades, giving way to the gas and particles drifting between stars. This boundary is about 11 billion miles from Earth, way, way beyond the planets. In 1977, NASA launched Voyager 1. In 2012, it became the first human-made object to cross the heliopause and enter interstellar space. Its twin, Voyager 2, followed a few years later. Both spacecraft are still out there, drifting deeper into the galaxy, carrying Earth's message to the stars. Even now, they still send signals home, though it takes around 40 hours for a message to travel both ways. So, where does the solar system really end? Not with a planet, not with a rock, but where the sun's breath runs out? And out there, two little messengers continue our journey into the cosmic unknown. So, what surprised you the most in this video? Was it Venus melting lead, Saturn floating like a balloon, or the fact that sunlight takes millions of years to reach the surface? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts, because space is always more fun when we explore it together. If you enjoyed this kind of content and want to keep diving into the wonders of space with me, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss the next mind-blowing video. And if you learned something new today, just a single like goes a long way to support the channel. It only takes a second, but it means the world to me. In the next video, we'll go even farther from the stars to the galaxies, from the edge of time to the birth of the universe. Remember, this universe still holds countless secrets, and we've only just started scratching the surface.